another man before.
I know who the father is. He has 10 kids, so.
He has how many?
He has 10 other kids.
Hey, what it be? It's your boy Dre OG. Welcome back to the OG family. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're rocking with the vibes and the content. We got these worst cases, these 10 worst cases of paternity court, man. So let's run this thing up. Let's get into this video. Hopefully y'all having a good day. Let's roll.
When paternity is in dispute, Judge Lauren Lake is ready to rule using DNA results from deadbeat dads and cheating spouses. These are the most shocking cases from the show we've all known and loved as Paternity Court.
Your biological father.
Number 10, Danielle Marsh versus Terrence Reed.
Marsh versus Reed.
26-year-old Danielle and her mother were in court to address her ex-boyfriend, 40-year-old Terrence Reed, once and for all.
Ms. Marsh, you and your mom have demanded the defendant, Mr. Reed, appear in court today because you say he denies your 1-year-old daughter to marry.
Their story began when she had just turned 18, fresh out of high school, when then 33-year-old Terrence met her.
In your mind, was this your boyfriend?
Yes.
He lived in California and she in Ohio. They had slept together, so she assumed when he went back to California, it was a committed, monogamous, long-distance relationship.
I never knew he was dating other women.
Little did she know, he had other plans.
I'm a Muslim, so I was planning on having 4 wives.
She did find out real quick. When Terrence invited her out on a trip, she thought they'd be alone.
He says, let me introduce you to my wife?
Terrence? He claimed he let Danielle know he was inviting her out on the trip to meet his wife.
I have never heard of a man taking a woman on vacation to meet their wife.
He was Muslim and intended to have not 1, not 2, or 3, but 4 wives.
Fake Muslim. He's a wannabe Muslim.
And she would potentially be one of them.
I didn't know nothing about him wanting 4 wives.
When confronted about their age difference,
How old are you?
I just turned 26 last
And
month.
how old are you, Mr. Reed?
I'm 40.
he defends his actions by pointing back the finger.
She's steady talking about what I'm doing, but she have numerous meanings.
After 7 long years of dating, Danielle finally understood that their relationship was doomed.
He want to go travel state to state to have different babies and find another wife, and he get these women
The
involved.
courtroom was in shock as the results were revealed.
You are not the father.
She hadn't mentioned being intimate with another man before.
I know who the father is. He has 10 kids, so.
He has how many?
He has 10 other kids.
Are you using baby Tamari to trap Mr. Reed?
You really never know.
Yo, no. Fuck that. You can't make that up. That's a lot, bro, for me to just not say some shit about that. That's a lot. They've been doing a lot of cheek clapping out here, man. They've been getting it in. Like, that's just crazy.
Number 9, Ayel Ware
I just
versus
fucking everybody
Arius
wrong.
Wilson. Ayel and Arius were best friends.
I met him 8 years ago.
Their friendship
I
had been
remember
strong from the get-go. They would hang out, watch Netflix, and do private potlucks together.
He cooked something, I cooked something, bring over to his house, or he come over to my house.
But Ayel had different intentions for their friendship.
When did you start even liking him?
I liked him from day one.
She had her eye on his you-know-what.
You had been plotting on this all the time, but you were waiting for the time to make your move.
Yes, ma'am.
She planned to
This is
seduce
still
her
funny.
friend.
He had came on over after drinking. I ain't gonna lie, I made a move.
Her efforts paid off.
I got intoxicated. One thing led to another.
They finally got it on.
And at that time, Mr. Wilson, you were dating men.
Yes, ma'am.
Wait, what? He's gay?
Confident about myself. He might think he's gay, but he ain't met me.
You got some nerve, lady. She'd already tested 3 other men to see if they were the father.
How many other men?
Nigga, what?
She don't even know.
How many? Say it loud and proud. You said you're...
Hold on, this shit's crazy to me, man. Cause look, look, man. When you get good and consistent with somebody in a relationship, yo, you be clapping cheeks raw. I get that. But you're clapping numerous cheeks raw. Like, that's like the equivalent to raw chicken. Like, just eating raw chicken. You just out here eating fucking raw chicken. That's weird, bro.
a confident woman.
All to no avail.
He's the only person left. It's gotta be him.
So, here they were, in court.
This is
Wrap it
not
up,
mature,
people.
Your Honor.
Ayel raising her son on her own without a known father, having her best friend tested as the fourth potential father.
So you don't believe you're the only other possibility?
No, Your Honor. She's been with multiple men.
There was
No,
only
Your Honor.
4.
It was more than that.
Arius accepted being a godfather to her son with joy, but as far as being his biological father,
I love my godson dearly, Your Honor, but he's not my son.
they couldn't particularly agree on just how many men.
I'm gonna let y'all know something too, man. Look, if your man out here cheating, man, you just check out your local big girl. I'm telling you, look, man, them big girls, look, they know how to keep a secret too.
was sleeping with at the time.
You know for certain that there were more men besides the 3?
Yes, Your Honor, because like I said, we've been
Your Honor,
friends
but
for a
there were
long
only
time.
Or whether or not they used protection during their time together.
I'm not gonna go there.
You
with
did
it,
not.
Your Honor. I used the condom.
Your Honor,
I know
you
what I
did
put
not.
on.
But when the results came in, one thing was certain.
You are not the father.
Nope, not the father. Arius said he still loves her and his godson, but is relieved to have
You're
the
trying to
truth
trap
out
that
once
man.
and for all. And he was telling the truth about there being more than 4 different
We've
men.
had 4 men tested. We now know that there has to be at least another man out there.
She finally accepted that there is a 5th man.
I don't know if I watched it this far.
Do you have any idea who Ayante's biological father is?
Yes, Your Honor.
But he's no longer with us.
Cease.
He's deceased.
Oh, so sad.
So,
Number 8, Wanda Pence versus Larry Patrick. Patrick was a good, faithful family man. 5 years ago, he had welcomed a stranger into his home he shared with his girlfriend.
We befriended him, let him move into our home.
The man only stayed in their house for less than a week.
Stayed maybe 5 or 6 days.
That was more than enough time to lay with Wanda.
I think he was worried about me catching on to it.
Wanda explained herself, saying she had been accused of sleeping around with other men by Larry.
You constantly accused me of it, and I kept telling you, you're going to keep pushing, and it's going to happen.
For once, she wanted to prove him right by actually doing the deed.
Slept with the gentleman that had been staying with us.
But it was just that one time.
It was just the one time. It never happened again after that.
She admitted it was nothing but a mistake in her eyes.
Probably the biggest mistake that I've ever made in my life.
And
no. It's never a mistake. You don't just accidentally fall in vagina and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? That nothing about that is ever a mistake. Let's not get that messed up.
it had never happened.
It should have never happened at all.
It should have never happened, but it did, and I can't go back and change
Wanda
that.
became pregnant with twins around the same time as the affair, resulting in this quest to find the true father to the children.
I couldn't tell you where he is right now.
Larry didn't believe a word coming out of his girlfriend's mouth.
I'm from the South.
She was known to be flirty with other men,
I'm constantly calling people honey and babe.
and he believed this happened more than once.
Did
It has nothing to do with that. That's how I was brought up. I never slept with anyone before that.
A lie detector test was conducted on the show.
Miss Pence, you were asked, did you have sexual intercourse with the man more than once? You said no. The lie detector determined you were being deceptive.
Wanda's adamant that she has been truthful.
Your Honor, that's not possible. I slept with the guy one
I
time.
knew it.
One time, Your Honor.
She is a
The results
liar.
revealed something different, but she wasn't about to admit to anything.
Hey, it's what that paper says.
I don't care what
So-
that paper says.
It was bittersweet as the results of the DNA test came in, revealing that despite Wanda's affairs,
You are the father.
I told you that you were...
Larry had fathered their babies.
The deception stuff with the lie detector test, that's something that's going to have to be worked on, because that just right there shows me I may not be able to trust her again.
Larry explains
that's a
that
fact.
the lies and infidelity are hard to swallow.
I mean, it's bad enough I didn't trust her, but after hearing so much deception of her, I mean,
And he isn't so sure if he's willing to work to mend their relationship back to
Is
health.
there anything that you haven't told him at this
yeah,
point?
anything.
No, Mr. Patrick knows everything that happened that night.
Who can blame the guy?
You know what? That's insane, bro. Like when you caught. Like you know that lie detector got you. You smacked the cheeks with the homeless man, essentially more than once. And you can't just go ahead and get it out the way and tell that dude the truth. I wouldn't be able to move on from that. I don't know about y'all.
Number 7, Michael Griffin versus Sheila Richmond.
Mr. Griffin, it's bad enough you sleeping around
It's stupid
outside
for letting
the
them move
marriage,
in,
but
though.
your wife's sister?
You would think you could leave your younger sister with your husband without having to worry they might get in each other's pants, right?
That was an honest mistake, Your Honor.
How long did this mistake
It
happen?
lasted, I'd say, about 2 years.
2 years.
I know you.
This wasn't no mistake. This was a decision.
Mr. Griffin was a married man who had a 2-year affair with his wife's sister, Sheila, 33 long years ago.
For 2 years, you were sleeping with your wife's sister.
Yes.
Regularly?
Yes.
Often, very often.
He was in court to prove that Miss Richmond's daughter was produced by their affair.
30 years I've been knowing that she's my daughter.
You've never had a doubt?
Never had a doubt.
How can you be so sure?
That fools here.
While Sheila was adamant that he was not the father.
I did tell him that I was pregnant, but at the time he also knew I was, with other people.
He had been married for almost 10 years when the affair began.
So you all had known each other for an extended amount of time.
Familiar
It continued for 2 years, where the two would sneak off regularly to get it on, using no protection.
He was taking me home from when I used to go over to their house.
He would pick her up from her house to visit her sister.
That wasn't
do
a
the
red
deed,
flag?
And act like nothing happened.
Not thinking, just being wild at that time of my age.
She owned the fact that she had let her feelings get the best of
I
her.
was in love.
You had worked yourself up that you was in love with him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Falling in love with Mr. Griffin as a 21-year-old and recognized that what happened was childish and downright foolish.
I was very selfish for years, and I didn't want to deal with my past, but I wasn't thinking about your life, and I'm sorry.
Their affair quickly came to an end after she got pregnant.
We didn't hardly see
But
each
she
other.
was trying to hide it from her stepsister.
They lost contact and hadn't seen each other until this very day in court.
I'm sorry, and I wish I had been there for you.
Well, the whole thing blew over since it turned out that she really wasn't really his daughter.
You are not her father.
Miss Richmond vowed to do whatever it takes to find her actual father.
I'm sorry.
I'm just gonna have to help her find it because I got names for her, so.
Number 6.
That's wild,
Taylor
bro.
Holthaus versus
Like,
Karl.
imagine, yo, like, I know family is family and everything, man, but I don't think it'll ever be the same after that, man. Like, and that's even weird. Like, he taking her home on that consistent basis like that. You don't see the periods of time in which they're gone. How? I mean, I guess they was just hitting a bunch of quickies or something. That's insane, though. Sad.
Chenault.
How did you end up with your girlfriend's daughter?
Yep, you heard it
Nigga
right.
head look like a
His
chicken
girlfriend's
nugget. She was smashing
18-year-old daughter.
It started out as a text message, Your Honor. A word was misspelled.
After receiving a misspelled text from Taylor asking, "Are you coming?" he sure got the wrong idea.
My mom was sitting right beside me when I texted him this. I was asking him when he's going to come over.
She hadn't thought about being intimate with him, but after Karl called...
Actually, she wanted to go out and have a good time with me.
And you said,
sure.
Did you ever think in your mind this is inappropriate?
She hesitated, but accepted his invitation. So,
I snuck out of my grandma's house that night. We went to a park.
So romantic. He did come.
She had on tight clothing, little skirt.
Of course he
He
did.
couldn't resist. Their sexual relationship lasted almost 6 months.
When she's not there, she left to go somewhere. Sometimes when she's sleeping.
He was sleeping with both Taylor and her mother during this time.
In her house?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now you know that's just nasty.
They had even been caught with Karl's pants down and Taylor getting ready to go down on
She
it.
caught me standing in front of her, my pants unzipped.
Karl came clean to Taylor's mother and confessed.
She kind of manipulated.
Why do you have to come and clean about what? And you walked in and seen coming clean about. I just be confused, man. I just be confused sometimes. Am I tripping? I ain't tripping.
Both of us saying that I told her about what we did and I never said anything.
She didn't kick him to the curb, though.
I'm guessing, hoping she throws you out at this point.
Actually, Your Honor, no.
They're still together.
She
Were
desperate.
you also still sleeping with her mother during that time?
Yes.
To make matters worse, Taylor's mother was pregnant by him around the same time she got pregnant.
My sister is Mr. Chenault's daughter.
Though she was sleeping with another man at the time.
Whose child do you think
It could have been two guys, Mr. Chenault and another guy.
So it was anybody's guess
Oh,
who the
man.
actual father was.
Now you have a 10-month-old child by Mr. Chenault.
Yes.
And you may have a 3-month-old grandchild who's also your child's half-sibling.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Taylor's mother sat in.
What would they be? What would we call them? Crunkles? Like a uncle, nephew, uncle, crunkle? Like, what would we call that shit? Like,
in the witness chair telling the story of how she met Karl 20 years
Crefew?
ago.
Wow. If you've known her her on and off for 20 years, then you knew Miss Whole House when she was a baby.
I think we're gonna go with Crefew. Like, yeah, that's how y'all gonna have to introduce each other. Yeah. Yeah. This my Crefew. Hey, what the fuck?
Get any worse?
I also helped raise her.
This just keeps getting nastier.
She breaks down in tears as the two lovebirds reveal that they had been intimate just a few months ago.
The last time we were intimate, Your Honor, was about September.
But when asked whether or not they're willing to take a lie detector test to see whether or not they're still sleeping together,
Are we willing to consent to the lie detector test?
No, Your Honor, I won't.
How about you, ma'am?
they both refused.
Oh wow.
Suspicious. Well, it turned out that he wasn't actually the father, so they could breathe a sigh of relief. Number 5, Jamila Webster versus Terry House. Church pastor and Bishop Terry House was in court in defense of sleeping with a girl 28 years younger than him.
Look at
20-year-old
that
Jamila
wig right
Webster.
there, boy. That shit look like a mushroom, don't it?
I'm a man and I have manly needs, but I'm also a pastor.
Jamila met him at church, thinking she was attending an
That shit
innocent Bible
wild.
study.
We met at a church. It was supposed to have been like a Bible study thing. Instead of that, it's like unprotected sex.
Things
There
escalated.
was a connection. I thought she was hot.
She had confided in the church pastor after her mother died.
She went through a tragedy. She lost her mom. I went through tragedy.
That's
I
crazy.
lost my child.
Instead of consoling and guiding her, he made a move to get into her pants.
We just had a great time together.
To add insult to injury, he defended his actions by
I'm
stating
a man and I have manly needs.
he even went on to blame her
She's with me for money.
and called her names in court.
Quickly, she became a hoochie, and that's what it was all about.
What a guy. Poor girl's probably lost her faith in the midst of this all.
Is that proper language to use for a young woman?
His intentions weren't even to marry her.
No, it was just a hookup.
Just a hookup.
It was a booty call.
He just wanted what he wanted.
I'm a man and I have manly needs.
Jamila was involved with 3 different men when she conceived her child.
You were, in fact, sleeping with someone else during that time.
Yes, he was a boyfriend, but it was on and off.
And one of the
Oh.
other potential fathers was in court to receive paternity tests.
Oh, that's
Their
weird.
relationship had started off casual, but turned into a committed one.
I started
Oh, this nigga got baby hair. Oh, that's crazy. I ain't that.
feelings.
All right, I'm
She
keep
started
going.
catching
I'm sorry.
feelings Also, so we made a serious relationship.
He had no idea she was sleeping around with her pastor while going to church.
But she was like, "Well, you are the father. That's why I'm telling you." Because
That's a lie. I told him it's a possibility that he can be my baby's father.
Despite the cheating, Andre stepped up to take care of her daughter.
I was there ever since she told me that she was pregnant when she was 6 months. I made sure she ate good, feet rub, back rub. A million is 3 months now. I've been there since day one and before day one.
Meanwhile, Pastor Terry disconnected his phone and moved out of town.
When
Oh, wow.
I had no idea at all whatsoever.
Terry accused Jamila of being after his money.
The baby looked like his mom. She looked like his mom.
I'm sure for money, Your Honor, it's gonna always look like my mother, look like me, look like Bruce Lee.
What
anybody
money?
she
I
wanted
never
to be.
While Andre was hoping it was his kid.
You're actually hoping this
Yo.
child is yours.
Yes, I am.
The results visibly broke his heart, but he wasn't about to let them go.
In my eyes, that's still my daughter. I've been here this long. Why stop?
As for Pastor House,
You are not her
Ooh.
father.
not the father either.
Miss Webster, do you know who your child's father
Oh.
is?
Yes, my ex-boyfriend.
Jamila shed her tears quietly as she apologized to the pastor for bringing him to court.
I just think it's wrong. I think an
I'm
apology
sorry.
is definitely due.
I'm sorry.
But I
Number 4, Byron Pace versus Rasheda Fobbs. Byron had come to know Rasheda's son, Prince, to be his own.
Mr. Pace, you say you will be crushed today if DNA results reveal you are not the biological father of your son, Prince.
Yes, Your Honor.
He had no idea there was a possibility that his best friend Sam could have fathered the child.
You're Mr. Pace's best friend and the second potential father of Prince.
Yes, Your Honor.
His girlfriend went behind his back and had an affair with his best friend.
We both.
Look, man. they, bruh. Yeah. I ain't got no words for that. That's crazy. That's wild, bro. That's not
Both
no
was
best friend.
intoxicated. He's not there. Me and her talk, and the talk led to something else.
Rasheda was still hopeful that her boyfriend was the father.
He's an excellent father. I couldn't ask for a better person.
And they could move on with their lives.
I want everything to stay the way it is. I don't want us to separate the situation.
Byron explains that his relationship with his girlfriend, his friend, and the child in question was in jeopardy.
I'm very confused at this point. It's my best friend, and this is my woman. I've been knowing Mr. Randolph 10 to 12, 15 years almost.
Byron and Sam were living together as roommates when Rasheda came into the picture.
She had on short shorts. I'm a leg man, and I ended up getting her phone number.
Their relationship moved quickly, and she moved in to live with them shortly after meeting.
We kind of bonded real quick.
Supposedly in a committed relationship.
The situation with me and Randolph only happened once.
He had no idea she had cheated on him during the time of conception.
Shortly after her moving in, she became pregnant.
He wouldn't have found out if it wasn't for a heated argument.
Prince was 2.5 at the time. Kind of just got blurted out to me that Mr. Randolph could be a potential father.
She waited more than 3 years to tell him he might not be the father.
He knows Byron as his dad, and that's the way I want it to stay.
Rasheda tells a story of how Byron was working long nights.
He's never really home. I kind of took that as a feeling of neglect.
And she found herself in the arms of Sam to cope with the loneliness.
I do work a lot. I promote clubs and parties, so I am out.
She admits what happened was a big mistake.
The situation with me and Randolph was the worst mistake I ever made.
Was it only one time?
Honestly, that I can recall, yes.
Girlfriend of 6 years on one side and his...
It ain't no mistake, bro. I like, that's once again, we not gonna just be like, oh, it was a mistake. You don't accidentally fall in vagina. Like, we gonna keep saying it. You just can't. Can't. Shit don't happen. Like,
his best friend of 12 years on the other. Byron's doubts weighed heavy on his shoulders.
One time is one time too many for me.
They were all ready for some answers. Everybody held their breath as the results were revealed.
Mr. Pace, you are not his father.
Which means?
Mr. Randolph, you are not.
What?
Oh.
Oh, what a twist.
Wow.
Rasheda back as a new truth emerges. But there was a third man she must have been sleeping with.
Do you know who Prince's father is?
No.
That's me.
Back at square one, with no idea who Prince's real dad is.
There's somebody that may be his dad, but I'm his father.
What a shame. Thomas had been married to his wife, Angela.
Man, look, man, at this point, bro, she's just addicted to the, the male, hanging part down there, the third leg, man. She's addicted to penis, man. I'll say it. That's crazy. She's addicted to the kind that don't come with the wrapper on it, She don't like hers with the wrapper on it.
For 20 plus years, and they had 3 young boys together.
Me and Angela have known each other for 24 years. We've been married for 20 years.
They were a happy family. But Angela also liked females.
We met Gracie where we worked at. They kind of hit it off together.
So she started a relationship on the side with the defendant in court, Gracie.
She brought Gracie into the relationship just for herself. I knew she liked women, so I kind of just let her go ahead.
Shortly after their relationship began, Gracie moved into her and her husband Thomas's home, and everything was fine.
Now, they had a commitment ceremony, these two.
He was there. He's the one that gave me away. So.
But there was one thing the 2 women couldn't achieve without a man, and that was
children. She said she was getting to the age where she wanted to have kids.
Gracie wanted to have her own kids, and they all agreed that in order for Gracie to have her own kids, they would be conceived by Thomas.
Angela told her, she said, the only way you can have children is if Thomas is the father. That's how our relationship started out between all 3 of us.
You might think this is a recipe for disaster, but in actuality, their troubles only began when the 2 women went outside of their relationship with another man.
I had told her about the swingers club that I used to go to.
Because I love her, I relented and I went. She started talking to some guy, kissing on this guy. Well, I didn't know there was rooms in back. Between both of us drinking a lot, we ended up in the back in one of the rooms. We ended up having relations with this guy that we don't even know.
Without protection?
Yes, Your Honor.
She ain't had a wrapper on.
Gracie had conceived her baby around the time of this affair, and now the paternity of the baby was in question.
You might not be the father, but I hope that you are.
But wait, Angela had already done this cheating thing once before.
Me and Angela's been through this with our other child. She found out she was pregnant and she told me I had relations with somebody else while you wasn't around.
And she wasn't so sure if one of their children was actually Thomas's.
You guys got a lot going on here. Polyamorous relationships are one thing, then you got poly cheating, that's another thing.
Both kids ended up being Thomas's seeds.
Pertaining to 3-week-old Annagale Rogers. Mr. Rogers, you are her father. Pertaining to 18-year-old Austin Rogers, you are his father.
Okay.
And they went home together
Wow.
in
Went
celebration
better than I thought.
with joyful news.
Hearing these results today made me ecstatic,
Look
knowing
at her
that
old
the
duck
father
face
I've had all my life
tweaking.
is my biological father.
Number 2. Arthur and Eugene were in court to find out if the man they assumed to be their father, or the man they had known as uncle, was actually their biological father.
Uncle Ronnie, he's called me on my birthday. He said, I don't know who I'm talking to, my son or my nephew. Happy birthday.
Their mother on the defendant's podium had come clean about sleeping with both their presumed fathers and his brother.
We got intoxicated, we had a one-time thing, and that was it, which was a big mistake.
And she did not know who had actually fathered the children. The two brothers looked noticeably different, but they had always believed they shared the same parents.
I'm slim, like my dad. I'm built like my dad. My features like my dad. Arthur is big. He's a big guy right here. Uncle Ronnie is big. That's a big guy right there.
Yeah.
You know, they broad.
Until recently, they found out their uncle might actually be their father.
Uncle Ronnie or Father Ronnie?
Uncle
He
Dad.
called him Uncle Daddy.
He calls him Uncle Daddy.
Their mother, Allie, explains that she had no
I
choice but
can't.
to sleep with the brother of her husband.
I had a hard life. I had to struggle, and any kind of way it meant for me to stay alive, I stayed alive.
Since she had nowhere to go after they broke it
I
off.
had nowhere to lay my head.
Eugene made it clear that he had no hard feelings towards his mom.
My mom did everything in her power and her will and everything to take care of us.
All they wanted was the truth. Who is their father? Do they share the same dad?
I need us to have the same dad.
You say you need you and your brother to have the same
Yep.
dad? I see you're emotional. What are you?
It's emotional to both of us.
Growing up, they'd observed their
of course it would
perceived
be.
father to treat them differently.
He didn't even write me when I was in jail, but he wrote him, send him money.
You don't do that if that's your child.
Their Uncle Dad enters the room and sits on the witness chair. He tells a different story than that of their mother.
She said we only had sex once. She must have meant we only had sex once sober, because she can't even remember the first time.
You remember.
Oh, boy.
He says they'd slept together on countless occasions.
Oh, wow.
They embraced one another as they waited for the results.
Regardless of what these results are, this is your mother. You are brothers, and you should love each other as such. Are you ready for the results?
Yes, ma'am.
One paternity test was concluded.
John Ellis is your father.
I knew that.
And the next,
It has been determined by this court. John Ellis is your father.
Oh. That's crazy.
Told you.
That's crazy.
wow, who would have thought?
This is great. I mean, same month, same day. They're all as well.
Number 1, Daniel Vogel.
Hey, I'm happy for them though. For real, man. Like I was rooting for them to be like, cause man, it just seemed like they needed that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just need that one thing, bro. Like just to go your way. That's good for them. But he damn sure do look like his damn uncle. Oh, I got a nephew that look just like me. You know, so I get it.
Vogel versus Donna Vogel. Daniel owed almost $40,000 in child support to the defendant in question, Donna Vogel.
Mr. Vogel, you currently owe $43,000 in child support for the defendant's son, who you say is not yours, and you claim to know who his father is.
He was in court hoping he wouldn't have to take on the debt, as he didn't believe he was the actual father.
Who do you believe his father is?
My brother, David.
Donna had been with both Daniel and his brother, so none of them had any idea who fathered the children. His belief was that his brother and Donna had had an affair in his very own car and conceived the child.
She had sex with my brother in the car, in my car, in a parking lot in Janesville, Wisconsin.
But Donna said otherwise.
There was no sex in a car.
Don't get it twisted now.
It was under a bridge.
Not in a car.
You're admitting that you were intimate with his brother.
Yes, ma'am.
Just not in the car, under a bridge.
Yes, Your Honor, I was. I mean, he treated me better. He was good to me.
Her son didn't blame her.
This man, he's got a sly tongue. He could pretty much talk anybody into generally anything.
She went on to marry his brother.
So then you married his brother?
Yeah, 3 years after I divorced him.
But still claimed Daniel was the father.
I had grown to the age of 5, and my understanding that David was my father, and then all of a sudden my mother had kind of come to me when I was 5. What she basically told me was that she had had sex with him under a bridge.
He had been confused as to who his father was for years.
I haven't had a secure thought in years.
Was it the man he called uncle all along?
It's like changing by the decade. One decade he has one father. The next decade that father is his uncle, and then the uncle is the father.
His mother was sorry, all right.
I'm just sorry that it happened this way.
She broke down in court while her story was told.
You know, people believe the quickest way to get over somebody is to get under somebody else, and that just isn't true. And when it happens, you create situations you don't intend that have consequences.
And when the results told her truth,
Mr. Daniel Vogel, you are his father.
Daniel Vogel
Oh, wow.
was, in fact, his father.
Mr. Vogel, you look shocked.
I'm more than shocked. I'm happy that he's
That's what's up, man. I like to see when that energy changed, man, when he was just like, it finally all settled in, like he can just like, yeah, I'm happy that he is mine. You know what I'm saying? I like to see that. I like to see that, man. But look, man, let me know how y'all felt about this video right here, man. Which one of these cases stood out the most to you? Which one resonated with you? Can you relate to any of these at all? You know, it's people out here that's going through a lot of things in their personal lives sometimes, you know, and you know, sometimes it's just good to talk about it, get that energy up off of you, man. Get that heaviness up off of you. See something, relate to something. Just know that you're not going through it by yourself. But look, man, I'm gonna leave y'all with that. But look, man, like I always say, spread love because there's too much hate in this world. Love you guys. I see y'all in the next video. I'm out though. Bye.